The one thing I hate about owning a home is that the idea that it will be a fixed payment forever. Everyone says owning a home gives you stability. And in a certain aspect, that is true. But really, owning a home gives you much less stability than you would think. There's one part about home ownership that drives me crazy, and not many people talk about it. At least when you're in the process of buying a home, no one talks about it until it's already too late. When most people think fixed mortgage, they assume their payment's locked in for the same amount every month for the next 30 years. And that is true for your interest rate. Your interest rate, unless you have a variable loan, which most people are just getting a 30-year fixed rate, that means that your interest rate is fixed over the course of the entire loan. The only way to change that is to refinance outside of that loan to a new loan.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. She is 100% accurate in that most people don't understand escrow accounts and the effect they have on your monthly payment as far as increases and or decreases are concerned. The purpose of this video is to shed light on that so that if you do decide to get onto the property ladder, you can do so with your eyes wide open. And if you are currently in a home, we want to give you 3 things that you can do going forward to help, at best, not be surprised about changes that might be coming down the pike as it pertains to your taxes and insurance, aka your escrow account. Hi, my name is Robert, and on this channel, we simplify the home loan process.
There's 4 components of a mortgage. Number 1 is your principal. Number 2 is your interest. Number 3 is your home insurance. Number 4 is your taxes, property taxes. Now, if you own a home outright, then you wouldn't have principal and interest. You just have home insurance if you so choose, and property taxes. There's no getting rid of that unless you move to a state that doesn't have property taxes. Is there states that don't have property taxes, or is it just state tax? I'm not sure. So out of those 4 components, 2 of those things can and oftentimes will change. And that's home insurance every year and your annual property taxes.
She's doing an excellent job explaining the components of a mortgage payment, property taxes, homeowners insurance. This is the culprit of your increases that you're seeing when you're buying a home. So what should you do? Let's go with folks that are looking to buy a home. New construction. You must make sure that your lender is giving you a fully assessed tax payment. Because as she said, the taxes are collected in the rears, in the mirror, right? Because of the builder and their low tax basis, they're not being assessed for a home on the property. When your payment is calculated, it's very low. And so, as she's going to explain here in a moment, when your servicer, the place where you make your payment, gets your information to set up your account to make their payments, this is where a lot of the issues happen. So buying new construction, make sure that your lender is giving you a tax payment, a guesstimation, which they should very well know how to do so, especially if it's a builder, because they're building these homes and they can easily, just like I can, figure out what your fully tax payment would be. Worst case is they overestimate and you get a refund. It's better to have that than for you to get payment shock and have a huge increase in your payment, especially for those of you that are marginal buyers already, respectfully, and you did everything to get into the home, not having this information to understand that taxes and insurance go up. All the reason to make sure that you're dealing with a lender that really can guide and counsel you to give you all of the information so that you can make the best decision for yourself going forward, because at the end of the day, it's on you. Now, if you're in a home and you've experienced a increase, okay, the first thing that I want you to do is shop for your insurance. You should be shopping for insurance annually. This is one thing that I've found in ownership. Insurance companies don't reward those of us that don't file claims and are comfortable, meaning we don't want anything to change. It's easy. Those of us that do that, the increases just happen year over year. So they reward new customers. When you move from one to another, you get a discount, because you're a new customer. If you're an incumbent and stay there, they're going to continue to increase those prices because they know you're not going anywhere. It's one extra thing that you have to do, but the purpose of the video is for you to know before you owe. These are things that come with home ownership. Let's continue to let the young lady cook because she's doing an excellent job.
So around the first of the year, when tax stuff happens, at least in my state and at least in my experience, your lender will do something called an escrow analysis. And what that is basically estimating how much it thinks your taxes and insurance will be due every year, because you actually pay taxes and insurance in arrears, which means that the escrow account basically saves your taxes and insurance for you. So that's a part of your payment and they just put it in an account. But there are times where you could have a shortage, meaning the amount that they estimated and the amount that you've been paying all year is actually less than how much it actually costs for your taxes and your insurance that year. When that happens, that shortage, basically, you have to either pay that shortage in a lump sum or you spread it over the course of your payments now. So now, instead of your payment being $1,300 a month, now it's $1,350 a month because of the shortage there. So that's one way your mortgage can go up. And again, this can happen every year. And it actually has happened to us every year for the last 5 years. One or both of those things have gone up, and that has changed our mortgages. Now for me, I own one personal residence and then the rest of my properties are rental properties. So that means that my cash flow every year changes. So I guess what bothers me the most is the safety net that people think they have when they buy a house. It's not really a safety net. It's kind of an illusion. You can do everything right, pay on time, budget responsibly, but there's still nothing you can do about those increases.
Just to give an example, your servicer, okay? I, as a lender, we help you consummate your loan closing. We package that loan up and we're going to sell it to a servicer, which there's only 3 or 4 major servicers, maybe even 2 nowadays, right? We'll call it New Res. New Res manages a lot of different mortgages. New Res now has your loan. Okay. This is why typically it takes 45 days for you to make your first payment, depending on when you close. I'm talking purchase loans. Sometimes refinance is a little different, but stick with me. So now the servicer gets the loan. They get everything set up per the definition, the escrow, insurance, and then they're going to be the liaison, if you will, between you and the end investor. Psst. Hey, yeah, you come here. You've watched this far. I know you like the video, right? Well, why haven't you subscribed yet? I get it. You don't want everybody. I won't tell anybody. It's between you and I. Just hit that notification button and subscribe. So when I come back on, you'll know about it. I thank you in advance. Now let's get back to the video. All of these loans are going to be collateralized. That's a tongue twister. At the end of the day, somebody's getting interest. This is why escrow accounts are necessary, because I know a lot of you guys say it's a conspiracy, it's the devil, it's this, it's that. No, it's to make sure that taxes and insurance are paid. Now, what I will say is this: a lot of local school districts, in my opinion, have realized that most of us will just approve anything that's associated with children. And they don't have any oversight, any accountability. So they raise all these bonds and things of that nature. And a lot of renters that don't pay property taxes, they always approve everything, right? Because you don't have any skin in the game. And so that's the reason for a lot of property tax increases. You got to know what's going on. We can't just complain. And so now back to the servicer. That's the reason for the servicer and why they're in place, because the end investor, the people that are supplying the money that allowed you, me, and whoever else gets to use this great leveraging tool to put down as little as 3%, 3.5%, 5%, because you don't have the 20% that's needed for you not to have an escrow account. I went all the way around the block because you have to, because you got to understand what we don't understand, we fear, and we often complain about. And so now we understand the escrow process and what a servicer does, not your lender. I will say this as well. A lot of servicers now are making money from the end investor. They pay them to manage this, but they also have a retail component. Well, they'll have a loan officer or somebody that's constantly trying to get you to refinance or to purchase. With my folks, we're like family. I keep in touch, but a lot of people just originate and forget. One thing that she said, and what a lot of folks feel the same way, heck, I even feel the same way in certain aspects, is this, is that when that servicer is projecting, they're guesstimating what the taxes are going to be. And I'm going to use Texas as an example. In Texas, December, all taxes are going to be paid if you have an escrow account. All right. Now, if you've been in the house over a year, your mortgage servicer, probably somewhere around April timeframe, March, April timeframe, is going to do an analysis where they're guesstimating what the taxes are going to be. So if they get it wrong, you've got 8 months where you've been collecting less than what the taxes are, because they don't know until January. Oh, I'll call it October, November. They don't know until that time frame. And this is why you're getting these shortages. So the solution to the escrow thing is this: you got to put 20% down. And if you don't have the 20%, then you have to understand how the process works. And so every county, and I'm using Texas as an example, but I do loans pretty much nationwide, but you have townships, parishes, they all are going to give you an analysis. Okay. They're going to give you an analysis, and we have to start looking at the analysis and know how to manage going forward. No shame, no knock. If you didn't know, that's what YouTube is for. It's the beauty of it, right? You can learn. But going forward, what we don't want you to continue to do is to continue to be a victim and get hit in the head. So got to shop for insurance, something you got to do. They're not going to give you a discount. You got to work for it. Okay. You got to understand that. And then you have to pay attention to the escrow analysis that you're getting. Oh, and you can ask that servicing company to give you an escrow analysis anytime during the year. You don't have to wait until they give it to you. So it's about planning and being proactive and not reactive. She said safety net. I think what I hear her saying is it's not stable. Okay. Because safety net to me is something completely different. And a lot of us that are buying houses, especially the first time, because we don't get this information, we assume that the tax and insurance portion of the payment that she so eloquently explained earlier is going to be stable. And that's not the portion. The principal and interest portion is fixed. Taxes and insurance can adjust. As we move forward, I want you to hear her closing statements, because what we got to quit doing, in my opinion, is throwing the baby out with the bathwater. My payment went up. Homeownership is a scam. Thank you. You kind of emotional, and I get it. All right. But is that really what you should do? So let's hear her out, and then we'll wrap this thing up.
What I try to do, just because I really hate when my mortgage goes up, I try to just pay the lump sum of the shortage and just go from there. That way my mortgage stays the same as what it's always been, and I just have to come up with that extra money out of pocket to keep my mortgage the same. I still definitely believe in owning your own home, especially if owning a home per month is roughly cheaper than renting. Right now we live in weird times. Typically owning a home has always been cheaper than renting, but in the last couple of years, with the market being so up and down, it's actually been cheaper to rent than it is to buy. So if you're in that situation, you haven't bought yet, I'd recommend holding off until you notice that the interest rates have come down enough and your payment per month starting out is going to be a good chunk cheaper than it costs you to rent in your area. If it's cheaper to rent than it is to buy, then I recommend continuing to rent. Now, if you're buying rental property, that's a whole nother ballgame. I believe it's always a good time to buy rental property as long as you can afford it. And afford it means that you can cover the mortgage in case you have a vacancy, meaning you have an emergency fund set aside for months of vacancy. So short story is, buying a house is not set it and forget it. It is not a fixed monthly payment. It can still be variable.
Excellent, honest insight into homeownership. But as she stated, she still would be a homeowner. And that's a personal thing, right? That's something that you have to determine if that's something that you want to do. Mia Muse is the name of her channel. Salutes to you, ma'am. Appreciate you talking about what you actually do and not what you heard online, because you can tell. Game recognized game. if you're someone that says, you know what, I still want to be a homeowner, I just want to do so the right way. Well, I like to throw my name in the hat because I'm a lender. My NMLS license number is 180100, and would love to have a conversation to see if we're a fit. We can help you get onto the property ladder the right way, move up the property ladder, or like this young lady, become an investor. Because you know what? Ownership matters. My contact information is in the link of this video below. My time is up, but I thank you for yours. As I always say, guys, let's be good to one another. Let grace abound. Watch these next 2 videos. It will help you on your home ownership journey. And until the next time, indeed, y'all stay blessed.